WSO Backstage, your exclusive backstage pass to the latest news and product releases in the internet marketing space. This episode of WSO Backstage is brought to you by Rapid Action Writing for all of your website and SEO content needs. If you need a blog post, article, press release, or a special report, go to rapidactionwriting.com.
Welcome to WSO Backstage. I'm Sean Kay, your host, and today I have with me a really special guest, Andy Fletcher of Digi Results. Now, a lot of you guys out there who follow the WSO market and follow, products and information products will know Andy. He's done over $1.5 million, I think, in the last year, so we'll get him to talk about it. So, hello, Andy. How are you?
Hey, Sean. Thanks. Great to be here.
Can you just, before we get into some of the background and stuff, I saw on one of your pages, what is the exact figure roughly? What is the figure you've sort of done in the last year and a half on product launches?
I think it's about it's north of 1 million, south of 1.5 million. I think it's near 1 million, though, about 1.1.
Wow.
I did add it up, and then I forgot to actually put the total on the graphic I made, so I forgot it again.
Did you ever really contemplate getting some of that money in a big giant pile and rolling around in it?
Frequently. I didn't just contemplate it, mate.
Oh, right.
No, I'm kidding. We did joke about it in the office, so it's like, I wonder if we could fill that small office in the corner with money and swim in it like Scrooge McDuck did.
Yeah.
And it turns out that money doesn't actually fill that much space when you actually take it out of the bank.
Even those big giant pounds that you guys have, those big supersized notes?
Yeah, well, I mean, the smallest value note in this country is a £5 note. So even with that, it just doesn't fill a lot of space. I remember once when I was 18, I had to transfer $2,500 from cash from one bank to another, and like in my head it was going to be this total like mafia experience. I was going to have like a suitcase locked to my arm, and like ninjas were going to be attacking me and shit. And the look of disappointment on my face when I was stood in the first bank and they just handed me this tiny little wad of notes. It was like, I could put that in my sock.
It was like a little DL envelope or something. You just felt really depressed.
Absolutely. It was like, oh, come on, man. That's not what money's supposed to look like. I've seen the movies.
Yeah. Where's my briefcase?
Yeah, but the woman didn't really have a sense of humor. She didn't find that particularly funny.
She was from somewhere in Eastern Europe. She just thought you were annoying her.
That, or she'd probably heard it many times before working at a bank.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself before you got into online marketing and what you did and things like that, where you're from and all that good stuff?
Yeah, sure. My background's all sort of software technology area. I have a master's degree in computer science from Bristol University in the UK. Then after that, I went into the software industry. I done just about every job in that area, working for two major companies. Doing software development, then kind of like management thereof, like encompassing all the other stuff like QA and tech ops and whatnot. It won't mean much to anyone. It's geek speak. Found myself working for a startup in London. It was a mobile come social network come development come celebrity blog site come basically anything anyone would not pay us to build. The company took 10 million quid's worth of VC over 4 years, and their sum total accounts receivable was £500,000 for that period. And at the end of that time, they called us all into a room one payday. It was like, hey guys, yeah, we know everyone's working really hard, but we can't pay you this month. But if everyone buckles down, we're sure we can pay you next month. I was like, what? This is a job, is it not? I show up, you pay me.
Yeah.
So the words I used during that experience aren't really repeatable on a show that's going to be put out to the public.
Yeah, no, you'll get my iTunes taken away.
Yeah, so we'll temper that. But anyway, during the as part of this chaotic startup setup, where basically everyone was doing everything, there was one of the things we did was they had somehow signed up this celebrity blog. It was a celebrity management agency, and they wanted an official blog for a load of like kind of B-list UK celebrities that were getting a load of rubbish published about them all over the internet, and they wanted like the official site for these celebrities, such that they could, whenever people were talking crap about the celebrities on their books, they could publish the official story, or just lie on their own site. I don't really know. But basically there were two parts to this. One, we had to build a blog site for each of these celebrities, but the other one obviously was a massive SEO campaign, because this is going back a few years now, but at the time certainly like SEO was it. It still is to a certain extent, but controlling what people see when their names were typed in, when particularly for the female celebrities, you can imagine there's a lot of search traffic for that. Again, I won't go into for public decency reasons, but basically they wanted to own the search results for all of these celebrities' names and the associated keywords. There was a guy in the company named Santosh, who's to this day way smarter than me, and he had overheard this conversation that the higher ups were having, that there was going to be this need for an SEO guy, and knowing that I would pick up and read any book that was put on my desk, he went out and he bought an SEO book and then left it lying on my desk while I was at lunch. I come back, pick it up, start flicking through it, and the two like owners of the company, Jeff and AJ, come walking through, and they're like, "Oh, Andy, SEO, brilliant! You're now the SEO guy for our company." So thanks for that, Santosh. So I was stitched up with that. I won the job of figuring out how the hell we ranked sites, because this is back at the point where I was vaguely familiar with Google's algorithm, because we happened to have studied it at one course in uni, and other than that, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what a backlink was. I didn't really know much about the SERPs, how they were controlled, and basically my job depended on me figuring out how the hell to rank these celebrity blog sites for a bunch of keywords. And I did, and it went really well, and we never got paid for it, and it was brilliant.
You've done two things there. You've given us a great background, but you've also dated yourself, because you went to uni and discussed Google at the same time. When I went to school, we didn't have the internet. It came in my second year of university, so Alta Vista was a big thing for me. Ranking my first site on Alta Vista, when you could just basically create half the page white, put white text on it with the keyword in there, and you were home. That was my first SEO experience. Was basically figuring out how to game Alta Vista, and it was sort of love at first sight. I've been hooked on SEO since. Did you find that SEO kind of captured you intellectually? Was that something you found, or was it just these Muppets running this terribly poorly run business needed somebody to do SEO, and that might mean you get paid next month?
First one, then the other. Like, I mean, the reason I got into it was absolutely because Santosh stitched me up with that book, and I was declared the one-eyed man in the land of the blind. Was that's how I got into it. I never had any particular interest in it. I never whatever. It was just thrust upon me. As I got more and more into it, I found it was awesome. It's basically this intellectual game of smart people at Google change the ranking, smart people not at Google figure out how to beat that, and then produce systems and tools. And back then I had a team of like 4 guys working for me who were like manually backlink building and doing tons of manual stuff. Now obviously we've got some pretty like high powered weaponry on our side, which is what I'm all about producing. And after that, I love it. It's just a giant game.
So the VC Muppets clearly went broke, or were you clever enough to jump ship before they realized that there was no money in Jordan's boob size? Which happened first?
I'd love to say I saw it coming, but I was completely blindsided by that meeting where literally it was hi guys, we're not able to pay you today, but if you keep working we'll pay you next month. And obviously I left fuming, and my resignation was on my boss's desk before 9 a.m. the next day, and thus I was kind of like thrust into the world, what am I doing next? Am I going to get another job? Am I at this point I'd learned a lot about a load about SEO. I knew about a ton of online marketing. You can't really study SEO without like discovering the Warrior Forum, discovering like how internet marketing actually works. I'd followed Dan Rain's original 15K in 30 days challenge and was captivated by it. Just all these things like made me think that, because I've always wanted to run my own business. I never really I didn't really get the disconnect from, it's like, I had a job, like they paid me money to do stuff, and then there was something, and the end result was my own business. And it turned out that something for me was basically being jobless, and having to figure out what's next, and deciding I would start doing SEO for people myself, which is when I started to learn all about sales, marketing, and how just being able to do something isn't enough. You have to find somebody that wants you to do it for them. And that was like my big sort of epiphany aha moment as a like real techie geeky guy, that the value was in what the other guy sees in it, not what you think of it.
And actually then getting paid for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, we won't go into some of that.
Yeah, because I went through the beginnings of the dot-com boom back in North America in the mid 90s, and I remember the company starting where there was just absolutely no idea on how they were going to make money. I remember being in a board meeting or a boardroom in Hong Kong in 1999, 2000, with a company doing $15 billion a year in revenue, talking about their online strategy, which consisted of buying mothernature.com. And when asked how they were going to make money, they said, "Oh, we'll figure it out." Needless to say, mothernature.com went bankrupt pretty shortly thereafter. But yeah, I mean, I think you hit on a very salient marketing point, which is you have to solve a problem for somebody, but the point that a lot of people miss is, and then you have to get paid for it, or preferably get paid up front for it.
Yeah, positive cash flow cycle. That's my word of the week at the moment.
Yeah, developing tools at the moment, you'd probably want to be cash flow positive.
Hell yeah. It's like, if you get paid up front, then you've got more money to do stuff.
So, okay, so you've now left the Muppet Brigade. You're on your own. You're working out how you're going to get paid, and what dawned on you?
What dawned on me, for me, is kind of the opposite to what a lot of my customers do, but in a good way. This is always a big talking point when amongst a lot of my customers, is because I'm primarily now focused on affiliate marketing. I run an affiliate network. Like all of our products are sold via affiliate channels, but we sell SEO software, so that creates a bit of a disconnect for some people. But basically, I got bored of SEO. It was fun, but I was having a lot more fun showing other people how to do it and making tools so other people could do it. I am at heart a software guy, and writing software for myself is a whole lot less fun than writing software that thousands and thousands of people get value out of. So hence this was where my the marketing channels I used to diverge from the channels I was actually selling to my customers. So I, having been doing SEO for other people for probably about 6 months at this point, I realized there was quite a market for teaching other people how to do what I do. But this was back when knowledge of SEO was a $67 product, not just a $3 WSO, because the knowledge was pretty rare. Not a lot of people knew how to do this, so it was a much more valuable package. Started selling it. Got contacted by a load of people who was like, "Oh, this is fantastic. Do you have an affiliate program? I'd love to promote it." So gradually built up, my portfolio of contacts, people that were sending me traffic, and realized that for me, I was that much more interested in making, teaching other people how to do it, making software products that would do it for them, and everything else like that, and then working with these people that already had established channels to take it to market. But at the same time, I still got to do the bit I loved, which is gaming Google and figuring out how to get stuff ranked, and then seeing results on a just much wider scale than I could ever produce myself. Because now I have thousands and thousands of customers using my tools. I get so much more data and feedback about what's working, what's not, than I ever did when I was just doing it for myself.
So that's something I wanted to go into a little bit and that is, with the level of feedback that you now must get, the sheer volume of data you must see. Now, I run an SEO business, so I see a lot of people's webmaster tools. I see a lot of, hundreds and hundreds of keywords a day that are changing positions, and you're trying to make sense of, effectively, you're trying to make sense of the matrix. You're trying to find the common sense in the data. What for you has been the single biggest shift, say, in the last 12 months with SEO? Like, if you could say one thing that's totally fundamentally changed, what's that one thing?
The same thing that changes every 12 months. Google's PR campaign and marketing campaign. This is the one thing that most SEOs I've worked with seem to miss. Is that the underlying algorithm that drives Google is all about link structures. The PageRank algorithm on which it is all founded is the same as academic papers. An academic paper is seen as better, is more valuable if more other papers cite it. In this case, we're talking about web pages and links. A web page is more valuable, more interesting when more other pages link to it. Everything else that happens on top of that, all the discussion about social signals, certain types of backlink have been devalued, but the underlying structure of it is all about controlling link flow to your site. And what Google do about once every 12 months is they shake up a few high profile SERPs. They do change a load of stuff, but then they put out a scare campaign with basically the goal of getting a load of SEOs to stop what they're doing, to panic and change because they doubt what they're doing. And then because their behavior has changed, that's really, really easy to spot. And then that's what they do most of the shake-up based on, is people that just stop doing what they're doing. People that just like maintain the plan and stick with what they're doing just keep seeing better and better results, versus people that panic and then go, oh, maybe I should stop like getting links to my site for a couple of months and then I'll see how it works. And it's like, well, that's the smoking gun in your hand. That's what's caused this problem, is that Google have told you, you can't do this anymore, so you stop doing it, and that's how they pick people out. Whereas anyone that just maintains the plan just keeps going. It may glitch, it may Google dance, but at the end of the day, that's it. That's the ball game.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've used the saying a few times with people. When you see the constant barrage of backlinking is dead. Well, I didn't get that memo. I don't know anything that's changed with the underlying PageRank algorithm. It is the same as it was. Some of the variables may change. I mean, I used the same reference of academic papers once where I said, well, a link from a professor at Oxford or Cambridge, a reference in one of their papers to your paper is definitely worth more than maybe a professor at Phoenix Online University. But it's still, the Phoenix Online University professor is still valued at some level. So I think you're right. I think there's, things change and the values change, and they may look at the odd new thing. But, a few years ago, you'll remember, it was forum posts. I remember when, forum posts were worthless in Google. Then all of a sudden they became the end all be all. And then 6 months later they were worthless again because Google realized, well, that's just a way of diminishing backlink value. So get rid of them. Do you think that earlier this year when they went after the blog networks, how much of that was just a big old scare campaign versus they were quite concerned that the blog networks that they took down, Build My Rank and a few others, were seriously diminishing Google's reputation and value of their algorithm? How much is a real threat versus they just want to be seen as doing something?
It's, to my mind, it's mostly about being seen to be doing something. It's so much of this is human perception rather than like any of the technology. And it pains me to say this, as like my background's all technology and software, and I would love the world to be driven on tech problems, but it's really not. The world is driven on human problems, and the human problem here is, Google needs some high-profile targets. So they find a focal point, and they picked blog networks. They find where they are. They massively devalue those very specific things, and it sends out this ripple effect into what everyone else is doing, and it buys them some time. In exactly the same way as people prove the value of the example that everyone's always used. I don't know if it even still works anymore, but to show the value of anchor text on a backlink is who ranks for the phrase "click here." It's not even the owners of clickhere.com. It's Adobe, because they have the PDF reader, and far more places have click here to download Adobe PDF reader than anything else on the planet. So that's what ranked for click here. But that example is far more of a human thing than a technical thing. Exactly what's going on under the hood is largely irrelevant. It's the message that you can embed in that one simple idea. And the simple idea Google are using is, all of this stuff doesn't work, this is dead. And by sending out that warning shot, loads of people stop doing it, which, frankly, I love, because it means my tools are just that much more effective because less people are playing.
It's quite interesting. I mean, one of the things we've seen in the last sort of 12 months or so is, the blog networks got hit in March, and our SEO business fell off the table for about 2 weeks. People thought, oh, this is the end of SEO. And then about 2 weeks later, the customers started to drip back. Then April 24th, Penguin hit, and our business dropped off the table for about 2.5 weeks. I did an SEO course to my list that basically we had to shut it down. There was so many people who took the course. And then off the back of that, we built a 6-figure content marketing business because so many people wanted us to write their content for them. And then again, at the end of September, early October, when the EMD update hit and there was the Panda refresh, our business dropped off the table for about a week and a half. And then all of a sudden, October was one of the best months we've ever had. So it's sort of like, Google puts a little scare tactic out there. It kind of frightens a few people for maybe a week or two, and then they realize, oh, geez, I need to go get some traffic again, and I don't want to pay for it, so I'll go do SEO and hope for the best. Is that what with the abundance of data that you see, do you see similar patterns to that?
Absolutely. And I mean, the other underlying factor I think it's really key to highlight is that the PageRank algorithm is an iterative algorithm. Now that's, I have a computer science degree, so that means to me, most people listening to this probably won't. So let me simplify it down. An iterative algorithm means that the value of everything depends on the value of everything else. But then because the value of, everything changed, so is the value of everything else. So you have this constant cycle going on where, values go up and down, and because values are going up and down, all the other values are going up and down. And what you get is this very cyclical effect where you get a knock-on effect that because values over here went down, values over here went up, and then it goes back the other way, and that produces the very short-term Google dance. It produces much longer-term ripple effects in the system. It's a it's a very chaotic system that even people at Google themselves don't totally understand, because it's just too big a system. It's the same as the weather. In theory, it's a predictable system. In practice, there's just too much going on to really get it, because everything is affecting everything else. And the end result of that is a lot of these effects that we see. Google, it only takes Google changing one really small thing, and we see this big ripple effect go out. But then after a couple of weeks, everything stabilizes again. But what's important to note is that the underlying way it works never changes. That would be like Coke introducing new Coke. It just doesn't work.
Unless you have Bill Cosby, and it works then for about a week, and then people realize this new Coke, this isn't good, and then they go back and they want Coke Classic. I lived through that. I remember that whole episode. But just I don't know where that came from. But just on the idea of that, that change happening, one of the things that I'm certain you would have seen was when the blog networks were de-indexed in March. The thing that hurt most people was sort of the May-June period when PageRank was recalculated, and you got this echo effect. So all the links had been lost from the de-index sites, and then in May, June, all these sites dropped off the table because their page rank went down, and everybody couldn't understand it. Well, it was an echo effect of what had happened 3 months earlier. Do you see a lot of people at that point in time coming to you guys with support, going, "Oh, your tools don't work anymore"? Is that the kind of thing you see?
Oh, all the time. And like we have stock responses, which is just keep doing what you're doing. The people that lose out from these updates are the people that panic and change what they're doing.
It's the old Microsoft one. If you ever worked in enterprise IT, can you please reboot your machine?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, this is, we will tell you the path to take. It's up to you to choose whether to take it or not. And a lot of our customers don't, and that's cool. We cancel their subscriptions. No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
But the guys that just keep doing it, just keep seeing results, and it's kind of it's an acceptance thing with SEO that there are going to be blips. It is not something you can completely control. If you're a PPC guy, you have just complete control over that dial of traffic. You turn your budget up, you get more traffic. You turn it down, you get less traffic, but you spend less. You've got that fine grained control. With SEO, you just don't have that, and there is no way to absolutely guarantee like the same consistent result just constantly throughout the year. Google's algorithm changes, it goes up, it goes down. You have these ripple effects, and riding it out is a big part of what separates SEOs that just keep going and keep like producing results from SEOs that like basically throw in the towel and go, this doesn't work, this is ridiculous. SEO works. Somebody's always going to be at the top of Google. The game is making it you.
Yeah, I just remember when Penguin hit, and just about everyone who was selling anything related to SEO, within a week and a half, they were selling content curation. And I just wanted to kick somebody. It was just the most crazy thing. Everybody knows. I mean, if you do any kind of SEO, you do know that if you create duplicate content, you will get done. And so these people went from saying backlinking is dead, which is a stupid concept, to I want to promote the idea that you just go out and use a whole bunch of duplicate content. And it was just, to me, it was asinine at the time. I just wanted to hurt somebody, but you get in trouble and go to jail, and I'm just far too pretty for prison, so I kind of calmed myself down. Gonna switch gears just a little bit now. So you're running your own company after this sort of startup experience. When was the first time in your own mind where you've gone, holy crow, I've made it? Like, what was that? What was the moment where the light went off and you go, you know what, this is a real business and I've done pretty well here?
There were probably two inflection points like that. The first was like the moment when I realized I actually had the ability to like get all the way through a project in a defined length of time and produce a result. Let me say what I mean by that, and I'm going to try and be a little bit more lighthearted now because I've been talking very technical and we've probably lost half the listeners already. So I was sitting in a pub garden with my dad. It was an awesome sunny day. We both had a pint and a burger, and this charity collector came around shaking the bucket of change, like, have you got any change? Have you got any change? And I just ordered around at the bar, chucked my change in there, fantastic. But I said to my dad afterwards, I just don't understand this. It's just such a crappy way to fundraise. Like, basically they're selling the alleviation of guilt. They're collecting loose change compared to actually like building something of value and selling it and then giving the proceeds to charity. And having had a couple of pints, I did foolishly make the statement, if I was doing it, I could raise so much more money. To which my dad said, prove it. Now, a smarter man than me might have laughed, had another beer, and just let it lie. But unfortunately, I'm not a smarter man. So, having had a couple of pints, I said I would raise $10,000 for asthma research in 30 days. And I kind of thought like I would bluster my way out of it, and unfortunately he said you're on, and the bet was a pint, and obviously my dad's pride in me, which is quite a motivating factor. If anyone out there like is looking for a motivating factor for why am I going to make this work, go make a bet with your dad, and you will like seriously find your motivation. So anyway, the end result of this was I basically didn't sleep for 4 weeks, but I made a plugin called WP Syndicator, which still sells to this day, which syndicates content from your blog to a bunch of Web 2.0 sites, which builds up traffic from those Web 2.0 sites and builds you some quite high value backlinks as well, so you do better in search engines. I got a load of my then buddies on board to tell their lists about it. Everyone that got involved, like a guy called Scott Murdo did the copy for me, Carl Warren did the graphics, I wrote the plugin, tons and tons of guys like mailed their lists about it because they just got involved in the story, and just a huge thank you to everyone that did, because nobody earned a penny off that. Every single penny went to Asthma Research, and we ended up raising, it was definitely north of $10,000 in 30 days, selling this plugin at $10 a pop. It was absolutely awesome.
It's actually a good plugin. I have that one as well. So I think I've funded most of your staff. I've paid for every single plugin you've sold. So the next time you go into the office and you look at someone, you can rest assured that I've paid that person's salary for at least a week.
Excellent. No, I'm very grateful to you. In fact, I've got this bridge I want to sell you. It's called Digi London Bridge.
That's right, yeah. So next time you buy your girlfriend something really, really nice,
I can be like, this is from Sean.
That's right.
She won't get it. I will, and I'll laugh. And that's what matters, damn it.
That's it. So that was the first inflection point where you've sort of, the cocky little bugger with a pint under the nose, and you've said, I can raise $10,000. Watch me. Now, what's the second one?
The second one was the closest near miss on the WSO board, where because we were building up during 2010. God, I can't remember which year. I think it was 2010. We were building up, like doing bigger and bigger launches. We learning more about like sales funnels, learning more about like how to how to generate more value for staff, more about what our customers wanted, more just like huge learning curve throughout that year. And then we did a launch of Digi Article Blaster, and the day after we closed it, my business partner and operations manager Dom ran through the numbers, and he came to me and he's like, "You're never going to believe this, Andy. We did it was either like $97,000 off the launch. We missed a six-figure launch by just a hair's breadth. We could easily have pushed it over via, if we'd known, we could have got a few other people to promote it. We could have done something in the last couple of days if we'd known how close we were, but we just weren't tracking it. So lesson to everyone on just know your numbers. Really, avoid depressing situations like this. But in that moment, it was just this feeling of like, oh man, like I can't believe how close we were, and it just then flipped around inside me from, oh my god, I can't believe like that we were so close to that, to oh my god, I can't believe we were so close to that.
Yeah,
it was just like we'd gone from basically in a year later from WP Syndicator, where $10,000 was this like awesome achievement. The business was 10 times bigger. Like our launches were, like no joke, generating 10 times as much revenue, and that was just such an exciting moment for me, because it made me realize that not only could I deliver on these projects, I could also deliver growth, deliver more, and that was just incredibly exciting. Particularly because a month later we did do another launch, and we smashed six figures, but we did $123,000 in like 2 weeks. It was amazing.
So that's kind of a really good lead-in point to the $100,000 WSO launch. Now, it still doesn't happen that often. I mean, it happens occasionally. I saw Martin Crumlish move 6,500 front-end units or something last week, which is just a silly number of sales. But how many sales did you guys have to do the 100,000?
We did a couple of thousand front-end units, and then I think we did about 2,000. Ha! It shows what numbers your brain cares about.
Yeah,
The top line. Can't even break it down. It was around 2,000 sales, but we all our plugins are priced like 27 for a single site license, 37 for multi-site, and 97 for dev license on
yeah,
the launch coupons. So obviously we need to sell a lot less copies than someone selling like a $7 WSO
sure.
to get up to 100,000.
Because foolish people like me buy the $100 ones.
Absolutely. I mean, we look to sell about 15%. 15% of people, up to maybe 20%, will buy a dev license. 5% take the single site, and everyone else takes the multi-site. So those price brackets make a big difference to our bottom line at the end of the day.
And just, this is kind of a left field question, but it was something that was raised with me the other day. Do you guys ever track what percentage of people buy your products and then never download them?
No, we don't run a license server or anything like that, so we have no statistics on uptake rate. And to be perfectly honest with you, I try and avoid knowing that number because based on what other people tell me, it will not make me happy.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot. This is one of the most painful parts of being in business to me, is people that buy stuff and don't use it. Like I genuinely want we always offer a guarantee on everything we do. We want people to buy it, we want people to use it, we want it to be the most amazing thing in the world. We want them to be saying, oh my god, I can't believe he's selling it for so cheap, and be blown away by it. And it's software, there are bugs, sometimes it doesn't work, and if God forbid, your blog is the one that our software doesn't run on, we want you to have your money back. We'll cover all the costs of the support you've had up to that point, the PayPal fees for refunding the money which we get charged on and stuff. We don't care if our stuff doesn't work. We just don't want your money. And the uptake statistics I hear of the people that do track it, whereby so many people just buy it and don't even get to that stage of running it or putting it on a blog, and that's just painful to me.
It's I heard some numbers. I heard some numbers last week, and somebody was saying 30% of the people who bought this plugin literally never even registered it. And this is a couple about 1,500 front end units, so 500 people didn't even register. And you just think it's not overwhelming money, but at the same time, you're just why would you do that? It's just disheartening for everybody to have to think about, because you would see this too, right? I don't know what the number would be. You hear 90% or whatever, but the people who are trying to make money through internet marketing and online marketing, they just have no success. And then to see people buying this stuff and not even using it when the potential is there for it to work, it's mind-boggling. I just don't understand.
Yeah, well, I mean, it does give you a bit of insight into the statistics, though. It's some ridiculous percentage of people just don't make money, and I guess we shouldn't really be surprised if that higher statistic of people buying stuff and not using it.
Yeah, they're the 30% right there. You found a third of them straight away.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't know what percentage of people make money. It's probably less than 2/3 of the population, but it's there's your first third right away. If you keep buying stuff and never even using it, probably a good indicator.
So just to shift gears a little bit now, of everything you've done, of all the products you've written, because you guys have come out with quite a few things, what's the tool, other than the new one, but of all the stuff you've done to date, what's the one you think is the single best piece of work you guys have ever done?
Oh, good question. I mean, I will always have a soft spot for WP Syndicator in my heart. It's cool, and the fact that it still sells like mad today, 2 years on, and still works really well. It's just makes me really happy in this market where stuff usually has a shelf life of about 3 minutes. But in terms of best tools, I'm gonna have to be cheesy and say that the predecessor to the new one, the one we launched a year ago, so Digi Traffic Accelerator, It's so ridiculously easy to use, and we've made the new one even easier. It's plug in a little bit of content, plug in the keyword, plug in the URL, hit go. It builds you backlinks on all these like social bookmarking sites, which will like have traffic of their own, will get your site seen, and will boost your ranking in Google. The new one that's out on Tuesday is all we've done is made the interface easier to understand and added diversity of the link profile, so a bunch of high traffic article directories. It's a system that really works. It's really easy to use. And it's just a lot of people in fact, hopefully no one will ever see the level of engineering that actually goes into getting it to such a simple state. A lot of people we get complaints to our support desk about DTA saying it's too simple. How could this ever work? And it's like, well, you're not really paying for the complexity of the software. I hope you're paying for the result it delivers to you. So that is definitely our sort of crowning achievement product.
I think I said this to you before. I think Digi Link Doctor is the one tool that is just it's so simple and elegant, but it solves a real problem. It's the one that I think I've recommended to just about everybody I talk to at one point or another. It's just ridiculously simple.
Yeah, that was probably our most misunderstood plugin, I would say. I think it wasn't amazingly well received on the WSO forum, largely because it really appeals to people with offline clients, or people with a bunch of a lot of sites, because it's more of a multiplier effect rather than a get you going as well effect. Like Digitraffic Generator, for example, will be really good for you whether you're making your first website ever or you've got a ton of websites. It will it will help anyone in the spectrum. Whereas DigiLink Doctor, just if you haven't already built a load of backlinks, if you don't already have an existing site to use it on, the value's just not there because you don't have a load of broken links, you don't have a bunch of traffic going to the wrong places. But if you do, oh my god, is that amazing. Because it simplifies your life so incredibly simply.
Yeah.
And, it sells to offline clients for just so much money. I mean, that's hands down the one I should have charged a load more money for, because of the market it appeals to. That there are so many people selling that for $100 a month, or as part of a $1,000 package to offline businesses, where it's just you have a site, a load of stuff is broken, we will install this thing and it will fix it, pay us money. And the sell is just so simple. And frankly, I should have got myself a bigger piece of that.
Yeah, I want to ask you a follow-on question from there, because there was something you guys did that really fascinated me. You guys came out with a package where you gave away in the sale for the sale price distribution rights to your products. Yeah. Do you want to talk about? Tell us about that a little bit.
The biggest lesson you can learn from that endeavor was don't have a massive shoulder injury 4 weeks before you try and launch a high ticket product, because that won't work. I'd love to share some awesome lessons learned. I'd love to talk about it a bit more, but the bottom line is I had a serious shoulder injury. I was doped up on diazepam for basically the month in the run up to that. So we didn't have a lot of people on board for the marketing push. We didn't. No one was on message. No one really got it. For anyone who saw the pre-launch videos we were recording, in a couple of them I look a little bit dreamy-eyed. That's the amount of diazepam I had in my system. And as a result of it, it did not do well. We really didn't sell many copies of that.
I got it. I understood what you were doing, and just sort of for the people listening, basically you guys took a bunch of your products, you bundled them up, and you put a ticket price on it and said, if you pay this price, you're going to get access to rebadge and resell, rebrand these products as your own and go out and sell them. You get resale rights. That was it. Did you give the code away as well, or was it just the resale rights?
No, you got the code with it as well. So, but basically, for the like, you got a plugin for two grand. So, say you picked, can't remember which ones we did. Digi List Builder was almost certainly one of them. You, you pay your 2 grand. My dev team rebrand it to whatever brand name you want, and then you've basically got a product of your own. It's got its own sales page, everything like that, and the biggest the target market that we were going for, that this will do incredibly well for, is all of the WSO sellers, or basically anyone that has kind of figured out WSO lead gen. They get having a front end product, but they just don't have the resources to put something in the funnel, because hands down half the value of all our launches comes from the stuff that people buy after they buy the first thing. So the goal was to just put these plugins in the hands of a bunch of people that could we capped it at some reasonable number so it wouldn't just flood the market, and then all people need to do is make the standard WSO, put the plug sell the plugin rights to their rebranded version on the back end, and make themselves a load more money, and increase the affiliate commissions they can pay, because they can pay affiliate commission on it. But yeah, that message got lost in translation somewhere.
It was bizarre, because it was one of those ones where, as somebody who's run a software business, I could see where you were going with it. I could see that, these were products that for you guys had probably run their course. They had sold what you were going to sell, but there was some value for somebody else to, like you said, put them in their funnel. That, for a reasonable price, these people could, use that as an upsell, or, in their autoresponder sequence or whatever. There was just a multitude of ways of using it. And I just remember getting emails from you about it, and nobody else. And I couldn't understand. I was thinking, all these people who've must have made a fortune, selling your products, it was just like they vanished. They just disappeared. I have to say, it was one where I look at you guys as, a very successful business in this space. And it was like, I didn't think you dropped the ball. It's just like the market just didn't understand what you were doing. Is that your side?
We dropped the ball in loads of ways. I'm a big fan of putting my hands up when I'm stupid, and that one was I believe, obviously I have no justification of this, but I believe the offer was solid. The approach was all wrong. Particularly in that we were marketing those resale rights to a customer list of people who had bought the original plugins, and thus people on that mailing list are far more likely to be people that want to buy and own the plugins for themselves for marketing their websites, than they are to have a sales funnel that they can drop them into. It's not unreasonable to think we could have sold those to our affiliate list maybe, but basically we tried to sell the affiliates on getting customers, their customers, on board to buy it, rather than just trying to sell those things to our affiliates. And I blame the diazepam. It was not a smart move.
One of the ones that just surprised me about that, and it really did, I have to say, it was one of the ones where I wasn't doing a lot. I wasn't really heavily involved in the WSO market, and I never really got into the ClickBank market. I didn't like that whole scene. But so many of the people who were making a lot of money on ClickBank missed WSO. They've missed the transition to lower price products. And I was just sitting there thinking, so many of those guys made a lot of money in 2010, 2009, even into 2011. For the investment that you were asking, they could have literally bought a couple of your products and rebuilt their business in a new marketplace. There was just so many angles I saw for that just I couldn't work out why, because I could you could kind of see as an external person that it wasn't going to be a massive success, because the promotion wasn't really there from other people. But yeah, it was staggering to me. Suffice it to say, you probably will never do anything like that again.
I've certainly got no plans. We sold a few copies I'm very glad to say that the people that did buy it got really good return on it, which is always cool. Especially a couple that bought it right before the end of their tax year. So yeah, they
Yeah.
basically bought
The government
our
paid
software
for it.
out of money they would otherwise have given to the government.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. I was really happy on that front. But sorry, where was I going with this? We might do it with. We might do something like that again, but I doubt it. I don't know. There's a bit of me that thinks like I kind of get how to do it now. I'd like to take another run at it.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, it's like maybe let's just stick to what we know that actually works.
So before we move on to the new product, I want to ask one more thing, and I'd like to get you on again in the future and talk about it a little bit more. But coming from an affiliate marketing background, I have a sort of soft spot for a guy who decides I'm going to set up an affiliate marketing marketplace and payment processor. Do you want to talk about what you've done in that space? Because I have to say I admire what you've done there.
Cool. Yeah, Digi Results is my baby. I'm always happy to whisper about it. Basically, this all came about because having been on this kind of change of marketing channel progression, I kind of I started selling SEO services. Then I progressed to selling productized SEO stuff. Then I figured out selling productized stuff via other channels other than SEO. So I had all of a sudden I had a load of affiliates, and was doing really well with that. I found as a marketing channel for me, that just works a lot better. I really I like chatting to people. I like that human connection thing rather than the sort of constantly just gaming numbers thing. So that was really cool. So was working on building up my affiliate network, as in my network of affiliates, people I knew. Then PayPal announced, it must have been coming up to the end of 2009, I believe. PayPal announced their new adaptive payments API, which was basically made for making an affiliate network like Digi Results possible. So the amount of money was split at the time of sale. You didn't have the stupid rotating commission thing that Warrior Plus were doing, or Rapid Action Profits. Yeah, it was great at the time, but there are legal issues with that we won't go into. Then didn't have the ClickBank thing where affiliates have got to wait 14 days or more to get their money. Everyone can just get paid at the time of sale, and it's particularly cool for anyone that has a good PPC campaign, for example, because they can flush money through the system as fast as they can get the money back. So if the time between paying for the money, making the sale, and getting the check is 14 days, that's they can run the system round once every 14 days. If you cut that pay loop down to they get money on the day at the time, they can basically run the same loop 14 times faster, and everyone makes 14 times more money. It's just ridiculous gains. So that was the PayPal Adaptive Payments API. I was really excited by this because I saw it as such a game changer. Mike Filsaime came on the Warrior forum and was like, in 2 weeks Pay.com will have this, it will be amazing. I was like, that is amazing. I will be the first customer for this. How do I get it? I got it. I totally got it, and why it was amazing. And then 2 weeks went by and there was tumbleweed, and I was like, software takes time. I'm a software guy, I get this. And then a few months had gone by and there was just no mention of it. It was as if it had never happened. And I was like, that's it. I want this badly enough that I'm going to build it. I want it for me, and the fact that I'm going to be building it for a bunch of other people at the same time is just gravy. So I talked a couple of my uni mates into starting the company with me, and Digi Results was born.
Now, are you really trying to say that Mike Filsaime hyped something and it wasn't all it was cracked up to be? I just want to get that clear.
No comment.
Okay.
No, Mike's an amazing dude. He's just such a better marketer than I am, hands down. I just can't do a lot of the things he does. His gusto, his ability to galvanize a marketplace and get it interested in something that doesn't even exist yet is just phenomenal. I credit a lot of Digi Results' success to the announcements he made about how good it was going to be for Pay.com.
So when the hype didn't deliver, you decided to open up your visual editing tool and make it deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. That was how it all got started.
Now, what's without you guys, obviously, private company, you don't disclose results, but would running a network like, because we've seen a whole bunch of them crop up now. There's a couple that have come up in the last little while, but is it a lucrative business? Is it not as lucrative as you thought? Is it just something that you find fun? Where is it at on a business scale?
Diminishing, I would say at this point. The go back, certainly as we were getting started, the space was booming. Largely because like the scarcity was on our side. Like we were the only people with adaptive payments. We had a real edge in the marketplace. Now there's so many people that have the same technology, the same stuff, and there's not really. It's a very hard marketplace to have a competitive advantage in, because everyone is so well informed. Like there's no technical advantage now. I think the one feature that Digi Results has that no one else does is we can do instant payments on recurring payments, not just payment plans. Like we can do a full any amount of money for as long as you like, recurring payments, which is I think the one thing we got that no one else does. And our cool little JV widget. Other than that, the networks aren't the same now. There's just nothing there that anyone got that anyone else doesn't. All the affiliates are incredibly well informed. Like the people doing big launches do all of their affiliate recruitment. Like the network isn't really providing much there, so there's just no competitive advantage to A over B. And as soon as you hit that kind of space, like the margins that everyone sees just goes down fast.
Yeah, we're seeing. I'm seeing as well that a lot of people now are even questioning the value of having their launches on a forum. So, I know Warrior Forum isn't seeing as much of the high end launches as it used to. FSO is getting some of them, but not as much as they're leaking. I think people are just doing them on their own sites now, and
we certainly do. We switched off like for DTA last year, and again for DCG this year. It will be, it's a WSO in everything except the fact it's not on the WSO board.
Yeah, it's using it's in the WSO market space, but it's not on Warrior Forum, and it's not using Warrior Plus. It's just a sort of a low entry point ticket item.
Yeah, and that's end of the day, that's where everything's going. Like the Warrior Forum had its time. It's still a great place to learn. Especially if you dig through the archives. I mean, most of what I learned about sales and marketing I learned through that forum. But it's like the WSO board. It leaks a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on there that leaks people away. There's what used to be this really good social proof aspect where people could talk about stuff is just so full of people looking for ways to attack you, and it just doesn't, like the voices of the 10 guys that are just out to be idiots are just so much louder than the voices of the a couple of thousand people that are just really happy with it, or even because as I said before, we make software. Sometimes software doesn't work. Sometimes we can't figure it out. We give people their money back. We say sorry. No harm, no foul. But those, you never hear from any of those guys. Or you hear from the few that are absolutely blown away by it, love it, and love talking about it. And you hear from the guys that are just trolling the forum, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
That combine that with the fact that it goes down at least twice a day.
Yeah.
And yeah.
No, it's totally, totally agree. It's as somebody who looks at the market, sort of, I try and look at it a little objectively. I mean, there's a lot of things in it that sort of make me gnash my teeth a little. The things you see, like people getting their affiliates to go in before the launch and leave comments. Like, you'll see 50 to 100 comments from people who've never seen the product saying how wonderful it's going to be. Or, I can't wait for, Andy to release the next product because everything that Andy does is so amazing. Like, that's not social proof. That's sycophantic. Like I just am not interested in that. And actually, under the FTC guidelines, if you're an affiliate and you're doing that, that's against the law. So
Yeah, it's also against the law for the vendor as well. I mean, this is the thing that people need to realize. I mean, I'm in the UK. The Advertising Standards Agency here is just more lax about it.
Yeah.
Takes a bit of a different stance, but the FTC in the States is pretty damn clear. If somebody is getting a financial incentive to like promote your product, they have to disclose it. And if they talk it up and don't do that, you're on the hook for that as well as them. It's not just, you can't just say, oh, they're an affiliate, I have no control over it. But you have a responsibility. The FTC says so. And it's a bit of a catch-22 situation, because if all you're ever going to do is like launch a couple of WSOs a year and make a couple of $100, the FTC doesn't care. But if your goal is to get big enough to make a decent amount of money, then well, you're going to have a problem with that.
I just think eventually that environment. Well, I think you're right. I think it's sort of the cycle is coming. It's off the peak and it's now sort of coming down the back end of the slope. But, if that had continued to grow at the rate it was growing in the last sort of 12 months, it wouldn't have been long before the FTC would have been, trawling that place regularly to see what the hell was going on, because I'm sure they would have got a number of complaints and it would not have been very hard to prove. Yeah,
that said, the FTC has got far bigger fish to fry than anything that's going on that WSO board.
Kim.com and Google are in their bomb sites.
Absolutely. And I mean, they go after people using these tactics, but then there are guys doing like tens of millions of dollars a year using tactics like that. They're the guys they care about.
Yeah.
But you have the WSO end of the scale.
But you have to think,
it's
right?
Diminishing returns, unfortunately.
Well, but if you think about it, right? If you did $1 million there last year, and a whole bunch of other people came near that figure, that place probably ran through $25-30 million of stuff last year. Eventually, those numbers start to get big enough just on quantum that you sort of think, well, somebody's going to look at it at some stage. But like I said, I think it's on, and to their credit, I think some of the administrators there have tried to step in and clean that up. But, my God, it's just a cesspool at times. It's impossible to do.
Yeah. And they're on such a losing battle as well. Like, I have so much respect for the mod on Warfare Forum, like particularly Paul Myers.
Yeah, I agree.
Who is just constantly on the receiving end of just the worst kind of spin. Like, it doesn't matter what you do.
No.
If he deletes stuff, it's anti-freedom of speech.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, they're allowing people to get away with it. If they're you just can't win in that spot. And the guy must have the thickest skin on the planet.
Well, what the thing about it is that I always find fascinating is, you can always see the intellect of people when you start to listen to them and watch what they post and those kind of things. But, if the people who spent half the time criticizing Paul Myers actually went and spent $5 or $10 and bought some of the products the guy's released, they'd be too busy making money to worry about what he's doing. Because some of the stuff that guy's released is very, very good.
Oh, it's amazing. I love it. I've learned so much off him.
Yeah, so...
I don't know. That does seem to be the problem on the forum at the moment, is it's just gone downhill. In fact, I totally get something Paul Myers said to me, 2-3 years ago now. He was talking about back before Warrior Plus and the affiliate promotions of WSOs became the norm. He was talking about just why it was a bad thing, and I was like, I don't get it. Why would anyone say no to this? It's just all it's doing is bringing more traffic to the Warrior Forum. That can only be a good thing. It's more exposure. And I can't remember what he said, but it was this very all I got the impression of was that he knew something I didn't. And it totally played out the way he predicted. It's just the community aspect of the Warrior Forum is no more.
Yeah.
It used to be a space where people were figuring this stuff out together, and if they sold stuff, it was because look, I spent tons of time on this and researching it, whatever. I need to recoup some of it from you guys, as well as want to take it to market, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now it's just for sale for them. There's
Yeah.
nothing special about it.
It's
Like,
eBay. Yeah, it's eBay for internet marketing products.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, because we always did, like, for all of our launches, we always offered, like, really big discounts. Like, our full price, everything's like 47.97, 2.97, and we discount to 27.37.97. So up to 2/3 off. In the spirit of the WSO board, that's what it's supposed to be all about. But that's somewhere that got lost, and it just doesn't exist anymore.
No, I mean I remember. It's quite fascinating. You mentioned that how things have changed. I mean, I've spoken to James Schramko and Lee McIntyre probably in the last 2 or 3 months on, and these are guys. If you go look up their profiles, 7, 8, 900 messages. I think Lee's in the thousands. You never see them on the place anymore. They don't bother. And some people will say, well, they built their business and left, but the reality is I think they saw the writing on the wall and got out while they could. Again, just shift gears a little bit. With the Digi Results sort of affiliate network, you made an interesting point that the affiliate networks now are much of muchness. They're kind of all very similar. Maybe the odd feature here and there, like some of your competitors will have visual design tools for a funnel, which I don't really think adds any value, but people like pretty pictures. Where do you see, I mean, obviously this is maybe $1 million question, but where do you see the next evolution of these markets?
That is a really good question. I think, like, what is going to happen next is you're going to see a bunch of people, like, fall out of the running. It's just not, like, the number of the market will not sustain the number of people currently getting involved. Like, there's so many people like with the network now. I mean, for ages there was Warrior Plus and there was us, and then for a while there was Warrior Plus, JVZoo, and us, and now there's Warrior Plus, JVZoo, us, Digi Results, Digi Really, Moosh Pay, Zakutifer, however the hell you pronounce it. There's probably more, as well as, like, all the existing ones like eJunkie and ClickBank and Pay.com, and the market's just not big enough for all of those people. And like, people on the losing end of this game are either going to just, like, leave it up, leave it running, and make what they can from it, or just move on. And at that point, the margins will start to stabilize such that a few people will keep going and the rest will fall aside.
And do you see any evolutionary path for this stuff? Like, I've heard rumors recently about being able to link your own merchant account to some of these networks. So if you wanted to accept credit cards through your own merchant account, you might be able to, any sort of, next generation things that you think could generate some interest, or is it really, like you said, is it just sort of they've reached the evolutionary apex of their ability, and now it's just going to be a slow descent for a few and a meager existence for the rest?
There's going to be progress. Quite what direction it'll take, I couldn't really say, but certainly the being able to link your merchant account part of it it's just more gimmicky than anything else, because even if someone does that, it's like, what people want is the instant commission. The sell is that you get your money now, and just nobody's going to pick, like, the merchant account version over the PayPal version, where basically what you're saying is, don't worry, pay me in 14 days versus I'd like my money now, please. Just the number of people that are going to be willing to play the game that way is just going to be so much less. So even if you can link your merchant account, I think we'll continue to see just most stuff being processed through PayPal and adaptive payments.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you end up with the alternative being, of course, that if the network has its own merchant account, and you basically get another ClickBank or ClickSure, and, well, yeah,
those don't
no
work.
comment.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, ClickBank does. Yeah, they're like $300 million a year company or something.
oh
So
well,
yeah,
sorry,
they're doing.
it works for them. It's
Yeah,
let's be clear, it works for them. But I mean, what's happened to ClickBank in the internet marketing space? Well, obviously, a large part of it's their own fault. They didn't really do enough work to keep the standards up, but the reaction to that's been sort of abysmal, and what they're instituting in January is just ridiculous. So, okay, so let's talk now about the new product. We've sort of hinted around the edges. Do you want to fill us in and tell us what you're doing?
yeah, sure. So the new product, which launches on Tuesday, the 13th of November, which depending on when you're listening to this, may be the future, it may be the past. Um, we have taken Digi Traffic Accelerator, which was our flagship product last year. We've made it easy to use, and we've added diversity to the link profiles it'll build now as well, so you get your content out to just even more different types of like high traffic, great link building, like basically do your search engine optimization, generate traffic on its own, and generate traffic through the rankings you'll get out of it. And we've got a special launch discount, so you can pick up a month's trial for, it'll cost between $5 and $9 depending on when you get on board. The price goes up with each sale. Standard internet marketing funsies, and it's a really cool tool. I'm not one to I'm not one to sit here and say things like you'll buy it and you'll make thousands of dollars a day. You won't. It will help you rank your sites in the search engines. It will get you more traffic. It will be an absolutely amazing tool. It rebuilds for just $20 a month. If it's pretty much impossible not to get a return on it. But let's be real about like what we're actually selling. We are not selling a button that you push that makes your computer shit out money.
It's Andy's not going to come and wax your car. You just might get to number 4 on Google.
Pretty much.
The new element to the product is around the article side, right? That is a big piece of work. From purely an engineering perspective, you guys must have put some hours into getting this up and running.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but basically, the whole of Digi Results has been on this for 3 months. Obviously, like my side of it is the marketing. Like my job is to get people to buy it, but the whole engineering team has worked on this for 3 months to get it into a state where it is push button simple. You type, you put a bit of stuff into a few boxes and you hit go. And it doesn't work that simple. You get your money back.
See, that's what I like to hear. I mean, one of the things you hear a lot with when you talk to people about products, and it's been something that is refreshing when you talk to Andy. It's, people talk about their guarantee, and the guarantee is often a sales tool for people. It's like, I'm going to take away all the risk from you, but the reality is the guarantee is there not to take risk away from you. The guarantee is to say, if I don't do what I say I'm going to do, then you get your money back because I'm just an honest guy. So that's kind of refreshing to hear, and you've kind of pitched that a few times. So that's a good thing. Your refund rates would be pretty low, right? You're going to get the refund rates from the Muppets who say, my toe was too sore to use the product, so I have to refund. Everybody gets those things, right? But what's your refund rate would be pretty low, yeah?
I think we average under 5%, which is basically that's everyone from the Muppets to people that again it's software. Like we're realistic about this. Like it's we have a support team. We will do our damnedest to get it working, but sometimes we just can't figure it out, and we're really sorry. And under those circumstances, we do not want your money.
Yeah.
That is our bad. It will work for the majority of people. For like occasionally, like WP Syndicators, a big candidate for this. There is a particular setup on hosting you can have, which is a bit abnormal. But if you do, WP Syndicator just doesn't work. And we know what that looks like now. So when we get the issues come up, we can say it's like if your options are like talk to your hosting company and get them to set it up this way, move to a different hosting, or just say the word and you can have your money back. So that like sub 5% rate encompasses basically that whole gamut of the spectrum.
Yeah, you're always going to get the guy who somehow has managed to get, WordPress to run on a TRS-80, and he doesn't understand why your plugin isn't working, or he's written some crazy plugin last weekend while he was on Xanax, and it's interfering with yours, and you guys just happy to give him his coin back, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just I'm a techie guy. Like I get marketing now. Like it's really interesting to me, but I have always been and will always be a techie guy. And with that comes this pathological belief that I just can't sell something for the sake of selling it.
It's so coming from a technical background myself, I think that's the part I find refreshing is when one of the reasons I don't do software I don't sell software like this is because I have you call it just a pathological disdain for people who sell software that is barely usable and will break at the first sight of traffic. And I'm not confident that I could put together a team of people, including myself, who could build software of a quality I'd be happy to release. So, it's something refreshing when you talk about, we want to make sure it works.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what matters to us. It's our sales message is always pretty simple. It's always very our software produces this result. Buy the software if you want this result, and if you don't get this result, have your money back.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's very we look at the guarantee differently to most internet marketers, I think. Whereas most people see it as that they have the guarantee because they know that it makes they will sell more because they have a guarantee.
Yeah.
But it's that's just not the right intent for me. The intent is I want you to be really, really happy with what you bought.
So let's just before we move a little bit, I want to walk somebody through how this tool works if you've not used the previous tool before. So you write your blog post or whatever, and then your plugin allows them to add in some text that can go out to social bookmarking sites, and it also allows you now to. How does it work with the article side? What's
cool? Can I just for 1 second?
Yeah,
just,
go ahead.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
It's desktop software. It's not a plugin.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
Don't want see something being known for WordPress plugins. We do get a bunch of people
buy
it without completely understanding what it is. So I have to be really clear in any communication.
No.
What people are buying.
Yeah. So they're buying some Windows software. Sorry, that was my bad. Can you just walk us through the steps of how they use it?
Yeah, certainly. So there's kind of two phases to it. Phase one is account creation. So you set up an email address. You then generate a profile. There's a button click which generates a pen name and details for that, and you tell Digitraffic Generator where your email address is. If it's on Gmail or Yahoo, it'll configure itself automatically. If you're on somewhere else, you will need to give it a couple more details, and then you hit go, and go will make it head out and create accounts on loads of social bookmarking sites, loads of article directories, just loads of places you can get your content and start generating this traffic. And then it will even go into that email account that you've specified and click all the account confirmation emails that you get. So there isn't any of that clicking through yourself, any of that manual rubbish. None of that. Completely hand off. You just run it. It takes about an hour. Leave it running in the background. Wander off. Have a tea. Have a beer. Whatever you're going to do. Come back and it'll be done. Then similarly for posting, it's split into social bookmarks and posting to article directories because it takes slightly different information. But basically what you're doing is you're giving it a lump of content, giving it a keyword or multiple spun keywords to optimize for, and then a URL that you want to link to. So you enter those details, you hit the go button again, and pretty much the same thing. It goes off, it does its thing, it builds backlinks, submits the content everywhere, and it just sits there running in the background. Again, takes less than an hour to do on either social bookmarks or articles. So you wander off, you do something else on your computer, and then it will do its thing. So it's about, it's 5-10 minutes work for you and about an hour for your computer.
And then I remember sort of reading a bit about this today in some of what you've sent out, but it then will, from the article side, it'll give you a list of links that it's created, right? And then you're able to use those to do second and third tier linking. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We kick out a list of everywhere that a link has been built to, and then you can take that list. You can build backlinks to your backlinks if you want. Quite a popular thing to do, like the beta test group have been doing, is building, like they'll do an article directory run, and then they'll take some of the best looking links from that article directory, and they'll do social bookmarking runs to the article directory.
Is there any way to manage the velocity of those links? So rather than sort of blasting them all out at once, like drip feed them over a period of time, is there any automation or scheduling?
We haven't built a scheduler into it, largely because people, we could, but people tend to use it as a bit of a crutch, and it's like the goal is to just keep doing this consistently. So like do 3 blog posts a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday you do your link building runs. So it's this very like fairly natural link acquisition to the site as a whole, and not worrying too much about like dripping out 3 links a day to each individual one. It just better result that way, frankly.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I heard you did a presentation last year I saw on what did you call it? Firewalling off your money site for backlinks.
You were on that webinar, were you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I have never got so much hate mail in my life.
Really? But now that is considered standard, that multi-tier linking.
No, it wasn't because people didn't believe it. Because people didn't understand it. There were hundreds of people on that webinar, and I think about 4 actually followed what I was talking about. It is, to be fair, why I've now banned myself from doing, like, it was a late night webinar, so it was, I didn't get to bed at night until about 3 a.m. I shouldn't try and teach complicated SEO stuff past midnight. It doesn't work, and I just get a load of hate mail from people saying I might have bought the tool you pitched at the end of it, but I couldn't understand a word you were saying. It was just too complicated for most people on that webinar.
Wow, that's the kind of people where I'd be standing back and saying to them, you know what, I'm going to take your SEO license away, because if you don't understand that, then no matter what the tool I give you, you're going to screw it up anyway. Like that's.
Let's flip this around. That is such an easy concept to explain. If I can't get that message across, I think that says more about my presentation skills than it does about their ability to understand.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, I got it. I mean, we'd always been sort of doing multi-tiered linking, and the concept of how link juice flows just is sort of natural. And the thing that I thought was interesting about that presentation that you were doing was that you were expressing it almost in a security context, that you could have more what we would now consider rubbish or junk or not high quality backlinks still feeding link juice to your money site, but you were just proxying that. You were just firewalling it off. It made absolutely perfect sense. I mean, struggle to think. It's the first time I've heard you say you got hammered on hate mail for it, but
to be fair, I get a lot of hate mail. I'm quite a public figure guy in the space. People like hating on me. Yeah, I haven't made Salty Droid or anything like that yet.
No.
People enjoy hating on me. It's cool.
How can they do that when there's people like Chris Munch and James Sides to hate? I mean, they're truly hateable people. I mean,
yeah, you're totally going to get me to slander 2 of my best marketing partners. That's totally going to happen right now.
It would just be so easy to hate James. I mean, really, when you think about it, but instead they hate you. I don't understand.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure they're all equal opportunity haters. I'm sure they hate Chris and James, and they'd hate you as well, given half the chance.
Ah, well, there you go. So, all right. So, the Digi traffic generator is going to be out on Tuesday the 13th. You're going to have to get up bright and early, I would imagine, for that. What time is it going? Eastern US?
We go 10 a.m. EST.
So that's what
for all launches.
So
that's 3 p.m. my time. Oh. So I get a day of talking to our marketing partners, making sure everything's on track, fixing whatever thing breaks at the last minute, because it always does. That's my Tuesday.
Oh, well, so that's good. So now if people want to get that, they can go to wsobackstage.com/DTG. We're going to come up with some kind of a bonus package to throw in at the time of the recording. I don't have it off the top of my head, but we'll put it on the blog post and stuff because I actually like the concept and it fits in with some of the content marketing stuff we do. So I'm sure we're going to be able to put something up for people who buy through the link for that.
I'll tell you what, if anyone's been like diligent enough to listen to us ramble for the last hour and buys through your link, then as well as whatever bonus Sean adds, I will also throw in a copy of Digi List Builder. If you buy just the front end Digi Traffic Generator, you can have a multi-site license worth $97 for Digi List Builder. So once you've got all this content out there, once you've got traffic coming into your site, you also have the ability to put opt-in forms all over your site, so you build a bigger list. And if you buy the Digi upgrade we've got as the OTO, I will throw in the developer license worth $300.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Because Sean is cool, and anyone that knows him must be as well.
There you go. Wicked. All right, man, I'm going to let you go make breakfast for your girlfriend. I'm sure she's done talking to her parents about now. So thanks again for coming on the call.
It's only been an hour. She will be ages.
She's eating the furniture at this point. Okay. All right, Andy, thanks for the time, and good luck with the launch.
Cool. Thank you very much, Sean. Great to be on your show.
No worries. Talk to you later. Hi, Sean Kay again. So in the episode we just recorded with Andy Fletcher, we made note that we were going to offer a bonus. So we've now put together that bonus, and I'd like to spell it out for you. Basically, anyone who buys Digi Traffic Generator through our affiliate link and sends an email to our support desk at support@rapidactionsupport.com with your PayPal email address and your receipt number so that we can verify your purchase, we're going to give you a coupon for a free 500-word article or blog on the topic of your choice, care of Rapid Action Writing, the sponsor of this show. Rapid Action Writing will do pretty much a high-quality blog post on your topic, which then you can spin or do whatever you want, and you can even use it in Andy's product. Plus, just for buying through us, Andy's agreed to give you a multi-site copy of Digi List Builder. If you then go on and you buy his one-time offer in the Digi Traffic Generator, he's going to upgrade that Digi List Builder free product to the Developer Edition, which is a $97 product. So you're going to get that for free for buying Digi Traffic Generator with his one-time offer. So to get that, you need to go to wsobackstage.com/DTG and pick up Digi Traffic Generator. Thanks again. To stay up to date with everything going on at WSO Backstage, remember to join our mailing list. You can also get in touch with us via Facebook at facebook.com/WSO Backstage or via Twitter by using at WSO Backstage. For sponsorship or advertising information, email us at ads@wsobackstage.com.
Well, that's it for another episode of WSO Backstage. Thanks for listening. The ideas and viewpoints expressed in this show are those of our guests and not of those of Sean Kay, WSO Backstage or Casual Gamer Proprietary Limited. Any financial projections or statements made are used as examples for education and entertainment purposes only, may not apply to your situation.